This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Say my name.
And here we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your snacks, get your popcorn ready. It's about to get realish. This is a different setup today, this episode. If a lot of you are aware of a former show that I was on before called No Chase Film Society, you're in for a special treat. I got my brother here with me, Chris Ali. What's going on, bro?
What's up, D? What's going on?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes,
OT,
sir. Yes, sir.
You out of retirement, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's the only way to do it, man. The only way to do it. So if you guys are not familiar with No Chase Film Society, I strongly suggest you go listen to it. It's up on everywhere you get your podcasts. We didn't have any video for it, but check it out. It's a great listen. And shout out to Roland. Roland was one of our biggest supporters. So none of y'all know who that is, Roland Flowers, but that's one of our family. So shout out to you, Roland. Thanks for listening. So yeah, man. But before we get into anything, we'll just want to remind you guys to follow us on all social media platforms. That's OTS Media Co. and OTS Media on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to get updates when we post anything new. We're gonna get into a little bit of what we used to do with No Chase. Kind of go back and forth on what we watched recently and just random banter. And then, as you already know, from if you've clicked on the video or you looked at the description, we are going to go ahead and get into a classic, a cult classic. No Chase. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Scarface. I'm all over the place right now, but we're gonna discuss. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. But our feature presentation today is gonna be Scarface, starring Al Pacino. If you have not seen it, I suggest you stop this right now or pause it. Go find it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a great movie, and come back and listen to this episode. But before we get into our feature presentation, Chris, bro, what you been watching, man? Because I know there's a lot of great things out there.
We got about 2 years to catch up on.
We got a long time, yeah.
Honestly, though, D, I haven't watched a whole lot, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, life's been lifing, so
yeah.
Handling that, I've gotten a few movies in, over the last couple of years.
What you check out?
I want to say recently the newest that I've seen that's worth talking about would be they clone Tyrone.
Yo, I still haven't gotten into that.
Netflix.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that movie.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to check that out. I know that's one that's been talked about a lot. But was that a good one?
It's a good movie. I'm gonna say it's a good movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this as well though. It reminded me a lot of Black Dolomite. No, is that what it's called? Dolomite. Not Dolomite. Black
Dynamite.
Black Dynamite. I said Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
I just took two different movies of the Black Exploitation. Ain't that some shit? No.
Hey man,
Black,
I was actually thinking about you the other day with that too, because I had thought about Dolomite.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys actually need to listen to our episode covering that, the original and the new one.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about watching that again because that was an amazing
Dolomite
film.
Or the Eddie Murphy Dolomite is my name.
No, Dolomite, the original.
Dolomite. Original, okay.
Yeah. I was thinking about watching that again just because of how, and I think I want to talk to you a little bit about that too with Scarface. With the how should I say it? The acting in terms of like back then, how acting was with choreography and all that stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
bad choreography. That's what I was thinking about with Dolomite. And
Okay.
yeah, man, that's some funny stuff right there. I love that movie. That's probably one of the
It's the best.
best.
It's one of those best. One of those good terrible movies.
Yeah, it is. It is. I
It's
enjoyed
a
that
good
one. That
bad
was a good
movie.
one. Yeah, I actually changed my gamer tag to Dolomite
Oh,
after
man.
we watched that. It was just good, man. It was
Even
just a good
nostalgic.
movie.
I mean,
Yeah, and I loved it.
it's a good movie, man, for a lot of good reasons. But
Yeah,
one of the reasons is definitely not story quality. You know what I mean?
not at all. Not
As
at all.
far as
Not
as
at all.
far as story value and
Yeah.
acting, craftsmanship, you're not gonna get none
Hmm.
of that. But
Nah.
the, the 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 look of achievement, the desire for
Hmm.
achievement,
Hmm.
uh, just the grit of
Hmm.
determination, so to speak. I'll just say it like that. The determination
Yeah.
to actually make a movie is
Hmm.
all over Dolomite. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, for sure.
It's just a good movie when it comes to really um, grassroots auteur type filmmaking.
Yeah.
Dolomite probably has to be, in my opinion, you gotta put it up there in I don't want to say top 10, definitely top 20. If I had
Yeah.
to name top
Yeah.
20, altruistic,
Yes.
grassroots, independent, basically independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
Probably one of the top 20 greatest independent films ever made.
For sure. For sure.
Mm.
I mean, and
That's a
I
big
know.
statement. I know. I
No.
wouldn't
Yeah.
give
No.
it top
And
10,
yeah. But I
top
mean,
20.
it's one of those that I think independent filmmakers need to watch. If no one, if you guys in the audience aren't, fully aware, um, I think I think I could still consider myself a filmmaker. I'm not sure if because I haven't been in that industry in a while, in terms of being on set and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's how Chris and I met. We are both independent filmmakers, um, and I know that we've discussed it a couple times on this show already. What's been going on with the strike, but from your perspective, what is it? Because I know there's a lot of stuff that's been coming out lately, but it seems like there's about to be like this dry spell because of the strike.
Mhm.
Um, what is it like for you with it? Like, are you going back to watching like old things because we're getting to that point where things are slowing down, or are you still like finding new things to watch?
I'm a little bit of both. I just joined the Suits Renaissance, the TV show Suits. That seems to be
Yeah,
getting a new following on Netflix.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
definitely one of those. My son turned me on to Suits a
Okay,
couple of months ago.
okay,
So that's what I was watching earlier today, actually. So
okay.
I pretty much, I mean, Suits is typical TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely got its TV beats to it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good storytelling and the acting's decent. So that's what
Yeah,
I've been watching as far as the old shit. Um,
yeah.
New stuff, like I said, I mean, They Clone Tyrone was probably the newest movie I've seen,
Okay.
and again, it was good. It was, but I would say with They Clone Tyrone or whatever it is, um, it's not unique. You see what I'm saying? The
Okay.
story is
Yeah.
definitely unique. We've kind of
Yeah.
seen it before, particularly with Get Out. Get Out kind of touches on a little bit of that. Um,
Okay.
and it's another movie that had that covert. They've done something to the niggas type of plot where they're spiking some shit to fuck with niggas
Yeah.
type of shit. So that's kind of what Tyrone is based on.
Oh man. Yeah.
So like I said, I've seen that story before. Like that
Yeah.
story, that nature of story is not new. But Jamie
Mm-hmm.
Foxx was good in it. Jamie Foxx was being Jamie Foxx, so
Yeah.
he
Nah.
delivered, which
Mm.
he always gonna do.
He does.
Boyega,
Yeah.
I think his name is, who starred in it,
Mhm.
actually starred in it. I can't think of his first name. I think his last name is Boyega.
Oh, John
He was
Boyega.
John Boyega, yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
He was very
yeah.
good, and the actress, I want to say Tiana Harris. I could
Mm,
be totally butchering her name, but
okay.
she was the young lady in Chirac, Spike Lee's Chirac.
Oh, yes. You know what's
She
funny?
starred in that. And she's
You
done a
told me about
couple
that
of
movie. You told me
yeah,
about that
yeah.
movie, and I still
I
haven't
wasn't
watched it.
I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
But
Nah,
yeah, the Clone Tyrone was probably the newest I've seen, and I just got into Suits. Are you familiar with Suits?
I'm familiar with it because I think it used to come on the USA Network.
Yeah,
Like
USA.
I think it was like around the same time, maybe like before or after Monday Night Raw. So when I was big
Yeah,
into wrestling, I would watch that, but I would see that come on or going off. I never paid any attention.
I didn't
I
either.
think I think back then I was like into a lot of the AMC shows like Breaking Bad and
Yeah,
The Walking Dead, those
yeah.
things. So I USA Network never turned me on to any of their shows. I never outside of Raw, I just never watched any of their other
I didn't
programming.
either. I didn't really
Yeah,
follow USA shows at all either. This
yeah.
doesn't seem like a USA show, a
Yeah.
USA show.
Okay.
Watching it through Netflix because Netflix has the first 8 seasons. I think the
Okay.
last season you have to stream it through Peacock. But
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the first 8 seasons you can watch on Netflix. And binge
Yeah.
watching it is definitely a lot better than watching it once a week. I would
Yeah.
say.
No, I think, but we talked about this again on previously on a couple episodes prior to this, but I think that binge format is starting to kind of like lose its attraction, I think, a little bit.
You think so?
um I think so, 'cause I think we're going to go back to the old format of episodic releases, because you
Or
see
waiting
HBO's
once a
doing
week
it.
or some shit. I don't know, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the binging
Not with
has
everything, not with everything, but I
uh
think like with like premiere things. So like for example with HBO, The Last of Us, or what was the other show? Game of Thrones.
mm,
Those are weekly releases, and then of course you can binge watch it um after the episode drops. But um I think we're going to end up going back there. This strike to me is kind of like shaking up a lot of things within Hollywood now. So I think
mm,
there's going to be certain things that, like, and I was telling the guys about this too, but I think that for independent filmmakers, this is their time to shine, because you have platforms like Tubi, which people, it's a laughing stock. Honestly, Tubi is funny, but it's successful, right? Like there are a lot of movies on there that are trash, but it's really good for filmmakers, independent filmmakers. And I
yeah,
think that it's one of those platforms that people need to take advantage of, um, because you're able to cut the middleman out and go straight to streaming, right?
right.
But I think like this time period is very weird to me, because I was looking forward to a lot of these movies coming out and they got pushed back. Um so now I'm
Like
finding
what?
myself, well, so I knew Deadpool 3 was just starting production,
Really?
and I was excited about that, but I already knew it was going to take like maybe like a year and a half for them to finish the whole film. Now you got to wait another, probably another additional year to that for it. So that was one. And then I was looking forward to the Game of Thrones spinoff, um House of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
That one I've been looking forward to. I'm not sure if they, I don't think, even think they,
The strike affected those shows specifically.
I think it definitely did with House of Dragon. But yeah, Deadpool for sure. Deadpool 3 got, they had a halt production. They had a
Wow.
halt production. Yeah, and it was like they had just started maybe like 2 weeks, maybe not even that, probably like under 2 weeks. They were just getting started. So I for me, I've been kind of like going back and watching some old things that I never got into. I know you're gonna be shocked about this one, but I never saw True Detective, and I never got into The Wire.
I never got either one of those.
Oh, really? Okay, all right.
I never got. You know what? I've been playing with The Wire for years, bro.
Yeah.
For years, I've been playing with watching The Wire. I haven't done it. Let me tell you one reason why. It's because at one point in time, everybody I knew watched The Wire. Everybody I knew, right?
Yeah.
So I was around so many people that would talk about The Wire all the time. I heard so much about that show over however many years it ran. I feel like I watched it.
Right,
That's how
right,
much I
right,
heard
right.
about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just been slow to get around it because I know about Snoop. I know about the homo thug, my man that died, rest in peace. Who was homo thug on the show.
Oh my
I think he
God,
was
I know
like
who
the
you're
first
talking about.
homo thug to really be on TV.
I don't
Like
I don't know. Why am I blanking on his name?
Omar was his name on the show, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I mean, the guy who OD'd on
Yeah, 3 names, I think. But
mhm.
anyway, rest in peace to him. But you know, I
I
know
love
so
him
much
too. He
about
was
the
good.
show, man. I
Yeah.
know so much about the show. I know that doesn't replace actually watching it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it just seems a little bit watered down to me now that I've heard so much about it. I'm gonna get around to it eventually. What's the
Yeah.
other name?
True Detective.
True Detective. Now I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand that show. Okay, so that show essentially has different characters playing or different actors playing the same character
That I
on
don't know
different
yet.
seasons.
I think it's different
I know
seasons. So
one season it was
I
Woody Harrelson and
I just finished that.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's the first season. I just finished that
So
one.
those are two characters, right? Now it's another season with Marshall Ali.
Mahershala Ali. Yeah.
Marshall Ali, excuse me, and
Yeah.
somebody else. I don't know who is it.
Yeah, I think he's in the third season, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't
So are
started
they
the second
playing?
one
So
yet.
these are different. So it's like some James Bond shit, where like you got the character, like the character stayed the same, but the actor can change. Is that
If I'm not mistaken, I think they're different stories. I don't even think they're the same characters.
okay? All right.
Yeah,
I was trying to catch
that's
that.
my assumption. That's my assumption because I had like I just finished the first season. I haven't been able to start the second season yet, so I don't know. I didn't know if they continued the story through the second season or not. But that's a show that I've been trying to get into for like 2 or 3 years because I was going to start it when the pandemic started.
Okay.
Then I just forgot about it. I just
Yeah.
had no like interest in it at first, but I mean, it's a very intriguing story. I think it's weird. It gets weird, but it's an intriguing story. I'm not gonna say run out. It's a must watch.
I remember. I
But
mean, I've heard about it. I remember watching trailers for it, the trailers for it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I remember the Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson season was a big season, was a big deal. And then I do realize that a whole nother actor came along playing.
Yeah,
I thought was those same roles. So I
yeah.
didn't get the
Nah,
premise of the story, but it's not on the top of my list to catch either one of them. Honestly.
yeah. No,
But
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that. But Matthew McConaughey, I will say, did a phenomenal, and Woody Harrelson too. But
okay.
Matthew did a phenomenal job with his character, man. I mean, you're right. I already knew, how good of an actor he was, but I think like television allows you the ability to go deeper into your character, right?
Right.
Like you're essentially playing, depending on the season length, you're playing with about like 8 to 10 hours worth of material, right?
Mm.
And I think there was a certain level, a certain depth that he went to with his character development in that show that I had not seen from him in film.
Mm.
And I thought it was very intriguing. That I did like. That I really did like. Sylvester Stallone did the same thing with Tulsa King. Have you checked that
I
out or heard
heard
about
about
that?
this. You watched that?
I haven't finished the season, but it's it's good. It's Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester is the same character in every movie, the same way The Rock is the same character in every movie, but you could see there was a certain depth that he went to with that character that he wouldn't have been able to in film, and that I can appreciate. I didn't. I think he talked about like how grueling of a process it is to do television. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was his first project on television. And he said it was a very grueling process, and he didn't know if he wanted to do it again or not. But what I saw was really good from him. I did enjoy. That was a good show.
Okay.
Well, at least from what I saw.
That's one of the ones I did want to check out. That's on Paramount, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I had listed to check out.
Yeah, and I think this strike is going to end up forcing a lot of these platforms to kind of combine, because we've already seen some merges happening over the last year or so. But like, I was looking through Paramount Plus, Stars, what was another one? It was Paramount, Stars, and I think I wanted to say it was Peacock. But a lot of these platforms, like, they just have something that can like grab you for a moment, but not force you into like a year-long subscription. Like, I just canceled Stars, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna get Stars again until Raising Kanan comes back, because that show was amazing.
I don't even think it's Stars anymore. I think it's called something else now.
Stars?
Yeah, I think is it MGM or something now? Oh no,
MGM Plus.
That's MGM it used to be Reels, I think. It was called
Reels. Yeah. No, but Stars is cool for like a time, but like, say again.
Yeah, Stars is still the same.
Yeah. No, it's good, but like 50 Cent is running that, right? So it's like, without his shows, I'm definitely not paying for it.
I don't think he's Stars no more.
He's not. He's been cussing him out for like a year now. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him. Yeah, he's eventually gonna pull his stuff from them, I think. But he's got them running. So I wouldn't mind seeing a lot of these companies merge, because the prices are going up on a lot of them anyway. They're trying to recoup. But I think a lot of them are trying to recoup something that was like a blip. So like, the pandemic forced people to get, more subscriptions and stuff like that, and over a period of time, and then all of a sudden, everybody's going back to work. There's subscriptions that you're going to cancel, and I think that's what they end up seeing, and that's why they're raising prices, because they want to get back to that, that outlier, and that wasn't gonna without the pandemic, that wasn't gonna happen anyway. So, I would like to see that happen. That's one thing I want to see come out of this strike, is the mergers take place. We have fewer places that we're subscribed to, but you have more content. And that, of course, the writers and actors get paid, their residuals. That'd be great. That'd be great to see. Because I think the major hang up again is that they don't want to share their profits, because I don't think they're making as much as they're claiming to make. But I don't think a lot of these programs, shows, or movies are actually as popular as people think they are. Right? Like, you can see that some of these movies are like charting on the platform top 10 of the week or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean they're actually like making a profit. That just means that people are checking it out, and it might not be as many people as you think are watching. So I think that's one of these reasons why they don't want to divulge, because the stock market is going to definitely plummet with that. So I don't know. I am glad about the strike, but I hate it at the same time.
So one of the things that I heard that I think is what's really holding the strike up, and I want to get your opinion on this since you mentioned it, is that they're glitched, or they're held up or whatever over the issue of the AI. You heard about that? The AI.
The AI, yeah.
The AI shit.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, man? Because I know you're me and you are on two different sides of the spectrum when it comes to Marvel, this comic book shit. Even though a couple of them I do like, I have like particularly the Batman stuff. The Batman stuff, I got a bias for. Most of that shit I can do without. But it seems like that with that genre or that lane of movies making all that money, making probably more money than any other genre out here. They found a way to loophole not paying some of these actors by pretty much selling their rights, their image rights over to them to make these Marvel movies, whether they want to participate in them or not, or whether they're dead or alive type of shit.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that it was two things, right? So it's the AI, but it's also the fact that they have to pay the oh my god, graphic designer, graphic guys that are over graphics. They're now I think they're about to be unionized right now. So there's a twofold for at least with Disney and how Marvel goes about their business, because they're going to get hit from two different angles. So like they're going to end up having to pay the designers more because they were demanding so much from them through production that you would see, especially in this last phase of MCU, you saw the decline in quality in the movies, right? And I kind of think that was a good thing for them. Now for Disney, it sucks because of course they're gonna end up having to pay for them. But the AI thing, I think it sucks too, because they're trying to do AI for writers, but they're also trying to do AI for background actors. And I think it's one of those things. So with writers,
you mean you got artificial, you got AI writing the shit?
Yeah. So basically, like you have one or two humans in there working with the AI, like to get brainstorming and all that stuff, and then develop the story out. AI, especially like engines like Chat GPT. I can't even talk to them. My bad. But engines like Chat GPT can develop a whole outline for you, and like it's cool, but there's no like, you still need that human element to develop it, right? And I think that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to cut down on the amount of writers in the room, use Chat GPT, and then kind of like just have like a few of them in there.
Oh wow.
I see it from both perspectives. From a business perspective, that is smart as hell. I can't even get mad at that. It makes sense to cut down on your costs, right? Like I see it, I get it. But in terms of the quality of what you're getting on the output, it's not that good. It's not that good. So to me, that's where it's like you can somewhat leverage it, but I don't know how you can. Like I don't think you're gonna get away from without using AI. Like I think for filmmakers like us, you don't want to see it happen.
Right.
But the age, we're in the information age, right? So like where we are right now, we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like we already know too much, right? And with AI being a tool that you can use, like it'll work, it will be good, but at the same time, it's gonna suck because for us, we're gonna be put out of a lot of rooms. We will. And you can't you can't create stories from a perspective as a robot. Like a robot can't discern, or decipher feelings and emotions and stuff like that. It can decipher between different situations, right? Like you can like it can output and say like this that and the other can happen, but you're not able to develop the story, and that's where the humans, the human aspect comes into play where they will develop the story. I hate it, to be honest. I do hate it. But again, I think that this is one of those times where, like, it's cool to be in the union, but I'm glad I never got in the union. Because to be honest, now, a show like this can be put onto a network without having to go through any checks and balances, right? Like if a network saw this show and was like, "Hey, we want to bring a show and do a licensing deal with you on the show," we don't have to answer to a union, right? Like we can just, especially in this time, we're not like behind the picket line and all that stuff. Hey, we can just go ahead and go make a deal, strike a deal, make money, right? Like that's the part of it that I like. As an independent filmmaker, I think that it's better to be independent than to be in the union.
I
So
think the unionized actors would hate us. But
oh, for sure. Oh no, they would.
Like
That's a sad part about it too, because like you have people on both that that are on that side, but it's like at the same time, how can you pass up a deal?
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not passing up a deal.
I'm not. I mean,
if someone came to me and said they wanted OTS shows on their network, they're going to be on the network,
right?
Licensed, but they're going to be on there, right? And like I'll lease it.
Would ever want to interview with us ever?
They'll come around. They'll get out their feelings.
Oh no, man. I mean, they take that shit pretty serious, man.
They do. I mean, it's one of those things
about the AI acting talent.
Yeah.
How does that work from your vantage point of view?
So yeah, you get the imaging, right?
You can pretty much sign up and act in one movie, particularly one Marvel movie, so to speak. But if you ever choose not to ever want to be in a movie again, or you die or some shit, they still have rights to
your image,
your AI image, pretty much, to continue the story.
So those, you know how like 2K does the 3D scanning.
Yeah,
it's similar thing. Like they would scan your face, and then they can then put that face on any imaging model that they want. It doesn't matter. You get a one-time check. That's it. And it cuts you out from residuals from any other project. If Disney owns that likeness, that image, they can use it for eternity. It does not matter. You sold it, you signed your rights over to them. So there's nothing you can really do. Like you can be mad all you want, but it sucks. That's the thing about it, man. Like it does suck. I get it. It does suck, but that's the pushback right now. And I don't know where we're going with this strike. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen, because
it's a standstill, man. Like this.
And that's why I tell people all the time, it's going to be like at least another year.
Well,
I can't see, like, honestly, how are you going to tell these big major corporations that that they need to do XYZ at this point?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to. Like, I get it. I think that they should pay the actors and writers. I think they should.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when you're you're at this point where like they're not going to do it and you're not going to work, yeah, you're gonna do a standoff, and then they got to figure out another way to get projects on and stuff like that. I think, again, I told someone this before, but I think this time period, this strike is going to do something similar to what was it, 08 strike, where the reality TV boom came into play.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's going to end up happening with this. I think it's going to end up being that, because this is happening, a lot of people that have podcasts are going to get pushed out. They're going to get pushed elevated into this position where they're able to get paid for their things. Like you just saw what Cameron and Mace did, right, with their sports show.
Mm-hmm.
They're not unionized.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to do that. They got paid a lot of money for that show.
Oh, really?
Yes. They just got paid a good amount of money for that show.
I'm familiar with the show. I didn't know it took off.
Yeah, it's called It Is What It Is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I think I don't know where they're gonna be like uh hosting it primarily, but they just got a good check. They just got a real nice check. So,
Look.
you know, that's how this game works, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's a
how it
money
works.
game, man.
Yeah,
It's a money
yeah.
game.
It's demand. Whatever's in demand. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a
Stand with
good
all the
time for
actors,
podcasts.
man. You know, shout out to all the
Most
actors,
definitely.
all the talent, man. That's taking that stand. I saw Cheryl Lee Ralph on Instagram yesterday.
Hmm.
I guess they were doing some type of rally, and she was real passionate, man.
Yeah,
Speaking on behalf of the crowd. Tashina Arnold um,
yeah,
made a statement. She was on the picket line, and
yeah.
she was pretty much stating her position that she's pretty much been an entertainer all her life, you know,
Hmm.
in the
Yeah.
entertainment industry. And I think she said one of her residual checks was like 32 cents or some shit like that.
Hmm.
Like the paper,
Yeah,
it wasn't even worth the paper it was printed on. You know,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
reality for these actors. So
yeah.
um, we're not making light of the situation
Not at
at
all.
all. Like it's
Not at
serious.
all.
Serious. We just hope they get everything they want, and
I hope they're able
really
to.
everything they
Yeah,
deserve at this point. It's really
yeah,
nothing about what they want. Everything they deserve, because the
yeah.
writers and the actors, that's the backbone. I mean, that is essentially the blood of the entertainment industry, and
Hmm.
they are at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the resources. So we stand with
Yeah.
them. We stand
Oh,
with them.
most definitely. Most definitely. I would love for them to get paid. I just at this point I don't know. Every both sides have a good argument. That's just how I see it. Both sides have a really good argument. And when you have two sides that have a great argument, I don't know where you go from there.
Yeah.
I just don't know what happens at that point. I hope they're able to come back and renegotiate. Um, these companies owe it to them, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to end up happening.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the sad part about it,
That's the sad
But
part.
yeah, maybe from this point on, actors and writers will take more, into account when it comes to signing these contracts. And yeah, you put it in, you want a specific percentage in residuals, and you
And
know,
what's a real solid fact that everybody pretty much needs to realize is that the entertainment industry has been built on bullshit since the beginning.
from the
Like it
beginning.
was always little avenues within the entertainment industry where the upper hand, uh, the man, the white man, whatever you
Hmm.
want to call it,
Yeah.
he always had his loophole. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Tied into
Hmm.
pretty much everything. The music industry, the entertainment industry is no different. So
Yeah.
now you got talent now, man, that's starting to realize, like, look, like I'm not getting what I'm worth. And,
Right.
this is not a benefit to me if my children can't eat off of this when I'm gone. You know,
Exactly.
they can watch me on
Exactly.
TV, 4 or 5 times a day, but they
Yep.
can't get the money off of me. Like
Yep.
a lot of entertainers, rightfully so, have said, nah, enough of that. We don't want
Yeah.
it. We don't,
Yeah.
let's stop it. And I
Yeah.
stand with them. I really do.
It's just about applying. I think it's just about applying the old TV model to the new age distribution. Like, if you're able to, I think if you're more so able to do something like that, I think you'll be able to. I think everybody can eat. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the reality of it. There's enough for everyone to eat. It's just that they just don't want to feed.
Yes.
They don't want to
Yes.
share. I put it like that. More so like that. They don't want to share. And
The 1% type shit.
yeah, yeah. That's just kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But all right, man. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. We're going to discuss the 1983 film Scarface, starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Dwayne from Past the Ox and Life's a Botch podcast. I'm coming to you with a real dope advertisement if you got a moment. Can we do that? Peep this. Yo, you tired of that uncomfortable feeling with your undergarments? You know what I'm talking about. Like, literally having to adjust so it gets real comfortable in between the, the real safe space. Or maybe just wedgies from just going underneath, you know what I mean? All that. Let's keep it in 100. Y'all know how I'm feeling. Y'all know how that feeling goes. Well, I want to introduce to you the ultimate solution coming from the #1 premium and fit athletic wear just for you. I'm talking about none other than Champ #1 Boxers. Champ #1 Boxers is a black-owned underwear brand, okay? They literally specify in giving you the most top-notch, high-quality, premium, adjustable and fittable and totally comfortable undergarment wear that is just for you. Not only is it something that you can wear, feel good in, feel confident in, and love, but it's also high quality, feels good, and most importantly, it is definitely fashionable, okay? Comes in a different, wide variety of so many different styles and themes to these undergarments. Something to make you look good, feel good, and swag real good in the process, all right? So, again, did I get to mention that this is also a black-owned brand? It's a black-owned brand, y'all, so if nothing else, definitely go support that 100%. So, what I want to do is I want to tell you, head on over to OTS Media Co. on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. If you go over, you click the link in the bios, it'll take you straight to the Champ #1 Boxers website. You can check out all their styles, you can check out their bundle deals, you can check out why this brand exists, what it's all about, and trust me when I say you do not want to miss out on the types of opportunities going on right now on the site. Champ #1 Boxers. Make sure you do it for the champ in your life if you ain't already doing it for yourself, champ. All right? Champ #1 Boxers. Make sure you go cop those. All right? All right.
All right. Welcome back, guys. So as we said before, we are discussing the 1983 film Scarface, starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer, directed by Brian De Palma. I didn't realize until right now Oliver Stone was a writer on this film. That's interesting. Did not know that. But just a quick synopsis from IMDb. This is how short this thing is. In 1980, Miami, a determined Cuban immigrant takes over a drug cartel and succumbs to greed. So, all right, if you guys if you have not watched this film, please hit pause and go watch it. Come back, listen to this because it's going to be a phenomenal breakdown. This is a movie that Chris has seen probably more times than I've watched The Matrix, and I've seen multiple times and love. Chris, why don't you actually give me your thoughts first on this film? Because we don't have to go in the chronological order of the film, but just your overall thoughts of the film, and then we can kind of like go in depth on different things.
Okay. Well, you kind of touched on. Am I on mute?
No, you good.
Oh, it says mute in the corner. Okay. You kind of touched on it earlier. Just the synopsis of the film. Cuban immigrant, played by an Italian. That's the Hollywood way. But Al Pacino in one of his early breakout roles. This is after The Godfather and a couple other roles he had, particularly after The Godfather. But this was one of his breakout roles that actually a lot of people probably of the younger end, which this movie was actually, I was 2 or 3 years old when this movie actually came out. So
I was still swimming.
Yeah, you was still in the sack, man. But I only been here about maybe 2 or 3 years, so I didn't experience the culture
right
when this movie came out. But if you do the research, a lot of people don't know this movie was actually not successful when it first dropped. It was not a box office hit, and a lot of the critics didn't like this movie. This movie actually got a resurgence of fans and this cult-like attention, pretty much based off of the Black community, the hip hop community. In the late '90s, early 2000s, I want to say, this movie really developed. Maybe a little bit before then, because I remember watching it before then. But this movie really took on a new identity due to the hip hop culture. Basically, what I'm saying.
Right.
And part of that reason why is because of the character of Tony Montana. You know, Tony Montana represents that outlaw figure, which this is America. America love outlaws. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So Tony Montana is definitely one of the marquee fictional personalities when it comes to outlaw. You know, Tony Montana, a Cuban immigrant who really has an Americanized way of thinking. If you really look at his character, look at his motivations, look at some of the things that he stands on, he is really more American than some of the most American people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So with that, you know, like you had kind of mentioned earlier, it's an '80s movie, so it touches on the decadence and the excess of America was, which was really a conversation in the '80s, a big conversation in the '80s. With shows like Dallas, J.R. Ewing, Dynasty, you know, shows like that, celebrated and brought a lot of attention to the capitalist nature of what really drives this country. Scarface is one of those movies, you know, and that's one thing. I think you mentioned it before we went live, that Oliver Stone was a writer. I think he was a writer or was the writer of this film. Oliver Stone's career has primarily been made up of stories that show you the underbelly of America, particularly the money, how the money robs.
Right.
And this is one of those movies, man. So with that, I'm going to say I can understand why this movie didn't really get any attention when it first came out. And I'll just say, because one reason why is the acting. The acting is questionable, and you have to acknowledge the acting of the main character, the holder, the title holder of the film, Al Pacino, Scarface. Al Pacino is a great actor. Was a great actor at that time when he made this. This definitely was not one of his best characters.
No.
But ironically, it's one of his most iconic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. But I don't know what Cuban accent he's using in this movie. I don't know of any Cuban accent that is remotely close to this. It's almost like it's and I want to be politically correct with the words I use with this one right here. But he sounds like he has a condition. Put it like that. He sounds like a Spanish dude with a condition. All right, I don't hear a Cuban anything when I hear. I mean, his friend. What was my his partner's name? Was it Manny?
Oh Manny.
Yeah,
Manny. Yeah.
He sold me as a Cuban more than Al Pacino, Tony Montana. So that's one reason why I can understand why people really didn't grasp it, because that accent didn't really take you into a place of drama. This is supposed to be an intense crime drama. And that accent kind of was borderline. Is this a black comedy? Is this, you know, like what are we doing, Al?
Like a mockery.
Right. So it was problematic when it came to that. And I get it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think really pretty much, and this probably wasn't a fault of the movie, it was a product of its time. The music is awful in this movie.
It is.
The music is every bit of the 1980s. And it doesn't age well when it comes to the music and the score of the film. So those two elements right there pretty much stall the movie a little bit. But like I said, I can understand the resurgence that it had, because Tony Montana pretty much represents what a lot of black men have taken as a course to get wealth. You know what I mean? The underworld, the drug world, the element of crime. You know,
Right.
that's unfortunately a lot of avenues that we as black men take, and we tend to be drawn to that. You know, what I mean, whether it's at one point in time, Cowboys was that. You know what I'm saying, for the American cinema personality or fictional personality. Cowboys was one element of that. Stagecoach robbers and shit. You know, so Tony Montana was another version of the anti-hero, and he's definitely the anti-hero in this movie. And I'll get into that a little bit. He's actually the villain. He's really not anything to be admired.
Not at all. Not at all.
In this movie, but it's a movie that belongs to him. It's his movie, but essentially it's not. And I'm gonna touch on that in a minute. But just to kind of wrap up, my introduction of it. I'm gonna say it's definitely a classic. I would consider it definitely one of Al Pacino's, greatest movies. If definitely not one of his best performances, if that makes sense.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a good movie, great movie for him, great opportunity. The actual engine of what Scarface is was great for him, and only he could have played it.
Yeah.
He just didn't play it to an extent where the role and the acting is stellar or can be looked at as stellar. Definitely not like a Michael Corleone. Michael Corleone, that character's timeless. You see what I'm saying? Like, can't go wrong with it. The character he played in Heat, I forgot the detective's name he played in Heat.
Oh my God,
that character, phenomenal character. Oh shit, he played Satan, Devil's Advocate.
Yeah. Devil's Advocate.
You see what I'm saying? Tony Montana, if hip hop didn't save that movie, we wouldn't be talking about Tony Montana the way we are.
Not at all.
Hip hop needs to save that. So, the good of it, you know what I mean, it's a little ahead of its time because Oliver Stone has that ability to tell you, like I said, the darkness, the ugliness, the hypocrisy of America. He has that storytelling ability to translate that. You know what I mean? So you definitely get the JFK type of Oliver Stone in the right. You see it. Brian De Palma is the director. Got to give it up to him. You know what I mean? He's fantastic. Visual storytelling on his part. So that's the good. Talent wise, I wish Al had made a different decision, had a different motivation than whatever he had for Cuba. That's the ugly part of it. And the bad of the movie would definitely be the music. The music is not.
The what?
The music.
Oh yeah. Nah.
The music doesn't.
It only worked in the club.
It didn't work at all
in those club scenes. I'm
don't
saying
think the music worked in no setting.
For what they were doing, to me it worked a little better in the club, and that was it. And even that's not even like a major hit at that point. Like it wasn't a bullseye.
Was on in '83 or '80. No, seriously, I think the cocaine affected what people deemed as good music.
That's good music. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
If half the population wasn't coked the fuck out, I don't think a lot of that music would have really made the impact it did. I mean, she's on fire, the baseless lyrics that they did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the music in the '80s was mediocre at best. I mean, you could probably give me maybe 3 artists
in the '80s.
3 artists in the '80s that actually made music in the '80s that you can stomach today. You could probably give 3 artists off the top of my head.
Luther Vandross.
Who?
Luther was in the '80s.
He was '80s, but nah.
Wait, hold on. What?
I said there are 3 artists that you can say have music today that translated from the '80s into that hold up today. Music. 3 artists.
So you don't think Luther translates to today?
No, not from the '80s. No, not '80s.
Really?
No. Maybe a couple songs, but no, not a large body of work.
Okay, Whitney Houston was in the 80s too, right?
Whitney Houston came out in
Mid
the
late
80s.
80s.
I would say only her first album, and not even the whole damn album really holds up. Like
Michael Jackson. Michael
Michael
Jackson.
Jackson, those definitely, of course. Come on, that goes without saying.
Um, I'm be completely honest. I don't know any white artists from the 80s off the top of my
I
head.
wasn't gonna say nobody white. I was
I'm just like
not, not
because I know I started thinking about. I know, but because I was while I was watching this movie, I was trying to figure out some of the artists that I was listening to, and I couldn't pick up on any of them.
I didn't know who the hell these people. I didn't even care.
Yeah,
You know,
I didn't pick up on any of them.
but
Those are
my
the three I can come up with.
to cap that point, Michael Jackson, Prince,
for sure.
and okay, I'm gonna say a 3 and a 3A. All right, because I can't lower this particular artist in any way. But Michael Jackson, Prince, Rick James would be my solid 3.
Rick James, yeah.
All right, and then 3A because I can't make him a 4. He's up there. Actually, I'm gonna put him as 3, and we'll put Rick James as 3A.
Rick James is 3A. That's
Stevie
perfectly
Wonder.
fine.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, yes. Yeah.
All right.
No, yeah.
Outside of those artists, you know what I mean? You don't have many artists that have catalogs that stand the test of time from the 80s.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Anybody outside of that somebody in the audience can put, please let me know. But Michael Jackson,
I can agree with that.
and that's really thanks to Quincy Jones. A lot of that's thanks to Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
But Michael Jackson, Prince, Rick James, and then Stevie Wonder definitely is in there. Those 4 artists have timeless music. You know.
You're not putting Whitney in there.
I can't put Whitney.
Wow.
Her first album was a classic. You know, we getting into music now. But
I know.
Her first album was a classic. But I can't, listen to that entire album today and find any real relevance.
I mean, look, Coke had a hell of a time in that time period.
I don't think we had a Coked Out Whitney in the 80s. I could be wrong.
No, we didn't. Wait. Well, I'm pretty sure she probably wasn't strung out, but I don't think she just got started in the 90s, bro. Like she got started with that before she met Bobby. So like that whole time period, like to me, is like early to mid 80s. That has to be. That's Jersey.
Right.
It's Jersey.
You're right.
It's Jersey.
Right. I don't.
Trust me, I got family that were in it. So.
Yeah, she is a Jersey.
I don't
know. Maybe,
yeah.
But anyway, so wrapping that point, but I enjoy Scarface. I always have. Scarface is definitely one of my favorite movies. And I got some observations of it that I'll give you a little later on. After I'm gonna give you the floor. But yeah, man, Scarface is definitely a great movie, a classic, and I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it. I watch it probably maybe once every 2 years or something like that. I think I watched it for this conversation. I gave it fresh eyes, so I got a couple of things about it that I maybe could talk about based on my last viewing of it. But yeah, man, it's a classic story, man. It's a classic story. I got my problems with it, but it's a
it's not a flawless film at all. I think it's one of those movies that, again, and I think, to be honest, if you're into filmmaking on whatever level, whether that is being the director, cinematographer, actor, editor, you're talking about doing movie scores, whatever. I think when you're watching movies in general, you can learn something from anything you're watching. Right. And I think this movie, to be honest, there's a lot of things you can learn from it, whether it's good or bad. One of the things I was honestly impressed by with it was some of the shots that they took with this, because you're talking about 1983. You're not talking about, modern day. There were a lot of things that I couldn't even remember seeing in this movie. Watching it again for this conversation, I didn't remember some of these shots being in the movie, right? And it was actually impressive to go back and see how, especially like in the beginning of the movie where Tony and I think his friend's name was Angel were going up those stairs to get to do that deal in that motel room. The tracking from the bottom of the stairs to the top was really good, right? I thought it was really good, especially for that time to track them and stay on pace and all that. Phenomenal job. But again, the acting. I talked about this earlier, but the the acting itself is one of those things that I pay attention to more so when I watch older movies, and you can see the evolution in whether it's dialogue, actual choreography, fight choreography, or whatever, dancing. You can see the evolution from that time to now, and how sharper it is on all points for those different things now versus then. But it wasn't looked at as lesser than back then. It was just like, this is just what it is, and it was actually still good, which I thought was pretty interesting. But for example, the guys, I mean, if you saw the beginning of the movie when they were in that oh my god, was it like that camp? I don't want to give it the wrong name, but it was like a camp.
They called it Freedom something, but it was pretty much like a holding camp for the
holding camp.
Right, like
when they were there, and they were they were rioting at that point, and that guy was walking through trying to get away from all these prisoners. You saw some people that were I'm gonna use my keyboard as an example, but there were people that were holding wooden, like 4x4s, and they were literally just doing like I saw this old guy just like try to hit him in the back, and he just went like this, and it was very weird. It wasn't like he wasn't even trying. It's just like he was just there for the day, right? He just got paid, got a free lunch and guys money, right? Yeah. And it was different things like that. You can see the evolution with background actors from there to now, where well, outside of like Tyler Perry, but like there are background actors that are actually like acting, right, and actually performing properly. And that was one thing I saw with this that was very interesting. There's a lot of inconsistencies, I think, with when it comes to oh my god, certain placements, right? It was I think that one scene where Tony and what's his friend's name again? Manny. They were quitting working at that restaurant, right? There was a guy that was in a telephone booth, and then he switched to I think it was like another shot. He was over here, and then as they're leaving, he's back at the telephone booth type of thing. It's like those little inconsistencies that you don't really pick up on, a lot of times. You can see a lot of those mistakes are just prevalent throughout the film, right. But it's still kind of like, it kind of gives it that a little bit of an edge, which I find kind of interesting with this movie. But I don't know, man. I think that, again, like you said, I can't speak more on what you just said, but Al Pacino, I think he did a good job for what he was to do, but that accent was garbage. It's
definitely one of the worst accents for it to be a role as gigantic and iconic as it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold down.
It doesn't at all. It doesn't at all. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think that I think compared to The Godfather, though, and I kind of wonder if this had to do with directing, or if it was just him with acting. Which Godfather came first, right? That was in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. So I almost wonder what the difference is for him, because his acting in The Godfather to me was superior than Scarface. And I don't know if I want to attribute that to directing or if that's just him. You know what I'm saying? Or can you attribute
I think
to
that's
both?
the role he played. And I think, with actors, they have motivation that help inform their character and help inspire their character. That's why I don't really know what the hell his motivation was for this Cuban that he was showing, because like you don't hear Cubans who sound like this. You know what I mean? Again,
Right.
he was trying to articulate some type of mental illness that Tommy had. And I wouldn't put that past the character, that there was some type of illness going on.
He was. Would you attribute it to him being high a lot? Because he seemed to be high a lot in this movie.
I mean, definitely after he got to Florida, you know what I mean? Definitely after he got to, I mean, the first time you see him do coke is with Elvira, Frank's over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We really didn't have any reason to believe he was coked out before he got around the money and the lifestyle that he found with Frank. So I don't know. I mean, he's a killer. We knew that he was a killer. He was in the army, or in the Cuban army. It didn't work out for him because he's anti-communist. He's political with his shit.
Yeah.
He's not with communism. So, these are things we know of him from a character. We don't know a whole lot about his background, but I mean, we get these little snapshots that he was military and he's anti-communism. His father, he don't think much of his father, So we don't really have much that we know about him, you know what I mean? To really inform us of the character. But I don't know, man. The accent was a distraction throughout the whole movie.
It was. And I found myself putting the subtitles on a couple of times throughout this movie too.
Yeah.
And it was mainly with his lines, because I honestly could not decipher what he was saying at certain times.
Yeah, it was not coherent.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all.
But,
not at all.
It's a couple of things about this movie that I find very interesting, man. And I kind of always have, right? The one thing about this movie that I will say that, maybe some in the audience give me some pushback on, right? Maybe you can give me a little pushback on this, but essentially, on a Hollywood level, okay, on a money-making level, this is Al Pacino's movie. This is his vehicle, right? But from a storytelling point of view, if you look at the undertone of the story, this is not Al Pacino's movie. You know what I mean? His Al Pacino is supposed to be the what's it called, the titular character or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but understand something though. He's not once referred to as Scarface. Not one time in this movie. In the whole almost 3 hours of this movie, he's not once referred to as Scarface. Right? Yeah. The closest you get to that is when the immigrant guy asked him how did he get that scar on his face from eating pussy. He asked him to get the scar on his face from eating pussy. That's the most. And after that, you don't even hear the scar referenced anymore. You barely even know if he has a scar on his face, really. And so about most of this movie. So I don't know why the hell Scarface is even the representation or the title of this movie. I get it, but I don't.
Did you see the original Scarface?
I know of it. I think I did see it, man, but it's old as hell.
Yeah, so I've never seen it. I don't know
if old movie. I think it came out in the 30s or the 40s or something like
30s. I think it was the 30s, yeah. And that was because I actually didn't even know that this iteration of Scarface was a remake. I didn't know that until I think about maybe 8 years ago. That it was a remake.
A remake though, right?
Right.
Because the original Scarface, the guy, he's a mobster, but he's not like Cuban or nothing. He's not foreign.
Yeah, no, I don't think he is, but I of course I think it's around the same. This is a story around the same type of character though.
I do remember that The World Is Mine
For sure.
in both movies. I do remember that. I saw the first one, but I don't remember a damn thing about it.
I never watched it, so I do want to check that out just to see. But I wonder if Scarface was more so, like if it was more the scar on his face was actually referenced more in that film than it is in this one. Actually, let me ask you, because I was thinking about this too. Do you think that this movie would do well as a remake now?
I do.
Who do you think could actually play Tony
Look,
Montana?
they can't. I don't think they should update it. I don't think they should do like what they did with Superfly, that god awful.
Oh my god!
To do with Superfly. Like I wouldn't, and I think
I forgot about that movie, man.
Yeah, man. I think that's where a lot of filmmakers, well, a lot of Hollywood, inspired filmmakers go left. Is they try to completely modernize some of these stories instead of just. There's nothing wrong with a remake by keeping it in the same time period.
Right.
You know
right.
I mean,
I would like. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just keep it in the decade or the year it is, and just remake it. You don't have to give it a 2000 new millennium, whatever the fuck, gloss to it, man. I think that's what got screwed up at. I think that these movies will come off a lot better to younger audiences, especially if they just keep them in the context in which they were told. There's nothing wrong with keeping it like just. Really, you can do a better job of recreating 1970 now than you could in 1970.
Yeah.
You can do a better job of recreating 1980 than what they was doing when they recorded this movie in 1983. So, to answer your question, I definitely feel like it deserves a remake. But leave it right where it is. Don't try to make it a 2024 version of Scarface, which I think is what they were trying to do.
They discussed it.
And I think Rihanna was attached to it, right?
I think that they did discuss it. I think it was something. I think a lot of talks were happening like right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I remember hearing that they were doing a Scarface remake, but I think they were talking about making it a today's version of Scarface. Right. And I believe Rihanna was attached as Elvira. They had her attached.
Yeah. So who could you see playing Tony Montana today though?
I gotta think.
And does it necessarily need to be someone that is? Well, I mean, obviously, Tony is Cuban in the film, but like you said, Al's Italian. So, does the story? Let me ask you this: does the story need to be of a Cuban immigrant, or is it okay if they switch it to another immigrant, or even just someone
there's nothing wrong with using a little creative license. The only thing I wouldn't do, I wouldn't take it out of the decade that it was originally made.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I like that.
You know what I mean? Just like with what my man with the great Denzel do with Fences. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He left it right where it was. Same thing, the same concept. It'll be hard. I actually like the idea of Rihanna as
playing Elvira.
I like that. I like.
She would have been. Do you think she would still do that though? Like if they approached her for that, could you still see her doing that film?
I mean, she's done a movie. I haven't seen her in Oceans, whatever that Oceans movie she did. That's the last film I think she did. So it seems that she's still open to acting. I mean, if the money's right, I don't see why she wouldn't.
Yeah, I think I saw. I think she was in Bates Motel. Did you ever see that show?
No, I heard about it. No, I didn't watch it. That was
phenomenal.
It's an FX show.
I think it was FX. Yeah, I think so. That was a really good show, and she showed up in the final season of it, and the character was, if I'm not mistaken, I think the character was like a rich type of character or whatever, but I think her as Elvira would go very well too. I would love to see that. That would actually be very interesting to see. I like. Yeah. Why not?
Works for me. Shit.
Yeah, man.
Tony, you
But Tony
know,
is harder.
you think Timothy Chalamet could pull off a Cuban accent?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I see, and that's my concern
Isn't he
right
like the
there.
go-to white guy for everybody right now?
That's my concern, man. I don't want I don't want them to make the same mistake because if you're going to get a Cuban immigrant, if you're going to go the story of a Cuban immigrant, I think you get a Cuban actor. I don't know you necessarily need someone that we need to that we know right now. Right? I think if you start off with someone fresh, it actually brings something a little different to the character.
Mm-hmm.
Still use Rihanna as Elvira. You know, you definitely need someone that can attract. But I think if you got a fresh face to play Tony Montana, that would actually be really interesting to see how it will go.
I agree.
I would be intrigued by that. I think that would be a very lucrative thing for them to do because if you're going off someone that we already know, you know, like it's gonna be kind of like hard if they mess up. It's gonna be hard to see them, you know, being able to. It's gonna be hard to watch the film and take them seriously throughout the film if they mess up early. You know what I'm saying? But if you got a fresh face, there's no one that we know, does the accent very well and does and acts very well. I would love to see that. I just don't know who that would be.
I'm gonna play with that a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely up for a Scarface, reimagined Scarface. The
Yeah.
only thing that I wouldn't want to do, I wouldn't want them to update.
I like that idea.
You would have
I like that idea.
The cold culture of the story would change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of what motivates the original Scarface is the fact that it is the 80s, the cocaine 80s.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The age of
Yeah.
decadence and all that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everything was big in the 80s. You know what I mean? Big powder, big hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big, loud, music. Like everything was just big in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Clothes were big. Yeah.
Clothes. Everything was big.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think it could work similar to Snowfall, right? Like Snowfall was like at the late 80s, early 90s period.
Worked its way into
No.
years, or...
Wait, no. It never came into. Oh, you didn't watch Snowfall? That was.
I got through the first season, but I didn't get.
Okay.
I didn't complete it.
It's a phenomenal show. I think the. I think it was the fourth season was kind of a hard watch a little bit.
Really?
Like when John Singleton passed, it you could see the difference. Yeah, you could see the difference of it, but they wrapped it up very well in the final season.
Yeah.
It never came to modern day, but it progressed through the late 80s. I thought very well. I think they did a very good job of showcasing that time period. So I think if they do it similar to that, I would agree. I think it makes sense to keep it in that decade and do it as a remake that way. I would love to see that. I'm not sure who you get to play Manny, right? But I think whoever you get to play Manny and his sister Gina, I would be intrigued by that too.
I think Gina would be played. There's two actresses that can hold down Gina. Selena Gomez. And you haven't really seen her in anything too dark or too well. At least I haven't. I'm not saying she hasn't done anything, but I haven't really seen her in nothing in a heavy dramatic tone yet. You know, I think that could be a breakout for her. Also,
I agree with that.
Man.
Now you know what, Zendaya would actually do a really good job as Elvira. She would do a good job as her too.
She would, but I would offer it.
Still won't Rihanna. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. But no, I agree. Zendaya would be great.
Zendaya could do whatever she wants. So
for either role. I agree with that. She would do a great job with that role. I I don't know, man. I think that they have to do something if they're gonna do a remake. I think the way you're talking about it makes the most sense to do it. The movie, it's the 83 version though. I think. Well, you tell me what do you think was? I know you hated the soundtrack, but what were like some of the redeeming qualities of it?
oh, the music. Or the
Yeah,
movie?
I mean, not the music. Like, I know you hated the music, but what were the redeeming qualities of the film itself?
Oh, there was some great performances in this movie, man. I'm gonna tell you a underrated. Okay, you know how they say there are no small role. There's no small roles. There's small actors or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, there is no such small part. There's no such thing as a small part. A small actor. The actor makes the part, right?
Right.
I'm gonna tell you a scene and some acting that goes really underrated in this movie, and that's Tony Montana's mama, man. That one
No,
scene was powerful, bro. Like she went to work with Al.
she did.
She took it to Al in that scene. I don't
She
know who
did.
she is. We can look her name up. I had it pulled up a second ago. I was just looking at it.
Miriam Cologne.
Miriam Colin, Mama Montana, Mama Montana. That's
Yeah.
that's her name on it. Miriam Colin. She for those 5 minutes she's in this movie.
Yeah.
She kills it, man. She dominates.
She does.
She
She
dominates.
does.
That's the only to see. I don't know that's probably one scene in the movie that every black man should be able to really relate to, right?
Oh yeah.
That
Oh
no
yeah.
matter how tough you are, no matter how much of a killer you are, when your mama's getting in your ass, you know what I mean?
It does not matter.
You a bitch. You chill out and you
Yeah.
take that shit, right? You take that shit, right? Because
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
mama was beating his ass up. And
Oh.
he actually has two scenes. We know one scene with the one when he first shows up, and then I think he goes to look for his sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes to the house and he pretty much gets cussed out again. But
Yeah.
some of the best performances, stand-up performances in here has to be that one right there. That's one right there, Mama Mental. Mama Mental. And the other guy who played Omar, F.
Oh
Murray
yeah.
Abraham, who is a legendary actor. I think he's dead now, but he's a legendary actor.
Yeah.
He held it down, man. He was good.
No, he was.
He was good.
He was.
I think one of my favorite scenes was when Sosa realized that he was a agent, an FBI informant.
Yeah.
He was an informant. And he told him to, you go ahead, which I wouldn't have went nowhere without.
Nope.
Like, no, I'm gonna eat lunch with y'all. I'm gonna chill with y'all. What you talking about?
Yeah. We came together, we leave together.
Yeah,
like,
we came together,
that's,
we leaving together.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have that funny shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that to me was actually one of the funniest scenes in the movie because you could tell I was like, man, I'm glad you killed that motherfucker. I've been wanting to kill him since I met his ass. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't give a fuck about him.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
he used to work together, right? So we had coworkers we wish that would have got rid of like that. Like, I don't give a damn how you get rid of this motherfucker. Just get rid of him. I'm glad he's gone. Type. So
Yeah. About three of them popped in my mind.
Right. So for Tony was like, man, I'm gonna fuck him. Shit.
Yeah.
But no, he was good, man. He was very very, very I guess I don't want to say forceful, but he engaged well he played well against Al Pacino.
Well, see, I thought I actually felt his frustration. Like what you're talking about with his mom as well. Those are the two times that you can feel the character's frustration with Tony. right? And it was very potent. And I actually, you know what? The third one was Gina too, because you could feel that too, like how
everybody
frustrated
stood up to him. Everybody just stood up to him.
Everybody was tired of him. Like it was like it just got to a point where everybody was just like, "Yo," and it just telling him off, like you are doing too much, bro.
Like Manny told him, your wife is right. You are an asshole.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Their relationship was interesting because Manny was loyal to him, probably too loyal. You think?
I'm not gonna lie. I did feel Tony on one thing. I was like, dude, you're a little too goddamn relaxed when it comes to my security.
Yeah.
Nah, that's the only damn thing I felt Tony on. I said, motherfucker, don't you know, like, people tried to kill me just a little while ago? Like, I'm really a threat out here, and you just, oh, Tony, come on, Tony. They're like, dude, damn truck.
And he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
And the thing about, like, I felt him on that, but I also felt him on the whole.
Escape it was not realistic. So I get what he was saying. Like, dude, you're putting out a lot of money for security, but the reasoning made sense. Like, it helps me sleep at night. Like, this shit, this is a peace of mind for me when it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But you can understand that he was at least trying to buy himself some security in a world where there really is no security. You know what I'm saying? So that was interesting. But I did feel Tony on that. Like, dude, you're a little too goddamn relaxed when it comes to my security.
I felt Tony.
I felt that. But he was right, though. Most of what he was saying.
He was right.
Most of
But I felt him on that, and also when he told him, like, when he first saw Gina, when Manny first saw Gina, and Tony got in the car, and he was like, "Man, your sister's beautiful." Hey man, I felt that I felt that to my core, bro. I felt that in my core because you know when you have a sister.
I get it.
And people like when you have boys that you know, like you've known them to always do everything right, then it's just like you know how I feel about my sister.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? You know how I feel about my sister. It's happened. Like that mess happened when we were in high school. That mess happened, bro.
Yeah.
So it was like that whole thing right there. Like that scene reminded me of high school. That specific scene reminded me of high school. So I was like, you know what? I felt him on those 2 points, but everything else, Manny was completely correct. And I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you a question. Go ahead.
No. I was just like, he was just completely correct. But I think also toward the end as well, just not telling him that he was actually dating his sister. Like that was also bad. You should have said something, right? Like if you're dating your friend's sister, you need to talk to them. Or if you're interested, you need to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a conversation you have man to man. And
you know this man is a.
That's what I'm saying. He's a killer. Why would you push that?
Yeah.
He's a coked out killer? Yes, that's the problem. Like so you play with your own life by doing that. You know what I'm saying?
But let me ask you this, man. I'm gonna go there with you. Do you think, because this in the end, and of course, you know, if y'all haven't seen this, man, go stop the movie because we got spoilers in this, man. In the end, you know, for a 35-year-old movie, whatever, 40-some-year-old movie, you know, his sister dies at the end. She loses her life, right before Tony gets killed, right? But do you think she
snapped?
Huh?
She snapped.
She snapped. Okay, but this is my question though. This is where I'm going with it. Yeah. While she was shooting at Tony, she was pretty much telling him, you know, come on, you won't let me have nobody else. You fuck. You come and fuck, right? Mm-hmm. Do you really feel that is that what she recognized in him, that you want some incest shit going on with me? Do you think that was legitimate, or do you think she was just flipping out and talking out of her ass?
I think she was just flipping out, bro. Because honestly, I don't. You saw how far he went. Like, there's a difference between being an overprotective brother and doing too much. Like, Tony did way too much. Like, he overstepped his bounds. Like, I get it. She's your sister. At the same time, she's an adult. You can't, like,
But when they
tell her who she.
overstepped his bounds, when she was coked out in the toilet, getting ready to get knocked off in the toilet, is that is that where he crossed the line at?
Okay. All right. So hear me out. Hear me out. Yes and no. Okay. Because look at this. Did he not give her money and tell her go live your life?
That's what he said.
Go have fun.
That don't include getting coked out and knocked off in the toilet.
I get that, but she knew, where his money came from, right? If she knew that, and he knows she knows this, you cannot get mad at her. Like, think about what he was doing all the way through that film. Think about all the things he was doing. Now, look at her from her perspective. Like, okay, you're doing this. You're giving me this money. I can go out and have fun too. She's an adult. Do I agree with that? No. But you like, I get it as an overprotective brother, but here's the thing. He wasn't even in her life.
That's not that wasn't overprotection. In that scene, that wasn't.
He wasn't. He had just came back. He just came back.
It don't matter.
He just came back.
If I see my sister powdered up, going to the bathroom, I'm coming to get my sister out of there too.
No, me too. Me too. No, me too.
But here's the same overreacting bullshit. I'm gonna do the same.
But this is the thing. He had not seen her in years, right?
Yeah, we did that. It had been over 5 years, I think they said.
Right. So it's like, you don't even, like, who's to say if you were still gone, she wasn't doing that anyway? You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't know. We don't know.
No, she said she was in cosmetology school. She said that she was going to community college. You know what I mean? She was doing.
You're talking about a young woman in Miami in the 80s, bro. If she was willing to do that at that point, like run into the bathroom with that guy at that point, it's not far-fetched that she wasn't doing something like that beforehand. She told him, she even told him after he busted in there, like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I can smoke what I want to smoke. I can do whatever I want to do. And she technically was correct.
I'm gonna fuck him.
Look, my point is, it's overstepping at that point because he wasn't that kind of figure in her life. Right? Like, he had been gone, wasn't communicating, like wasn't even communicating. Like, if you're communicating, that's different. Like, if you're just not in the same state, he's in jail or whatever. Like, they weren't even communicating. They didn't even know each other. So that's like a stranger at that point. You're not talking about your little sister. You're talking about someone that you're related to. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it was kind of odd that he just jumped into this big brother role all of a sudden. Now you want to be protective of her. And then he really went over bounds by trying to snatch her from this house. Right? And then you see what happens. Because he's out of his mind on drugs. You see where he went at the end of the movie. And it was like, again, Manny should have said something from the jump, but because he kept it a secret and that's how he found out, you get taken out. Yeah. Like, I it's a series of unfortunate events. That's how I look at it. And none of that stuff needed to happen, like, at all. None of it needed to happen. But I don't know, man. I think Tony just went way overboard. He lost it. He completely lost it for no
Well,
reason.
I think that was one of the more genuine parts of the movie, showing the instability that you
Right.
get when you go in that direction. You know what I mean? Particularly with that narcotic, man, as our Turner calls it, that narcotic. You know, when you get into that narcotic like that, man, you know, your faculties are all over the
way
place.
off.
If you have any at all. You know, so he captured that.
Oh no, he did. That was his best performance in the movie to me.
When he was coked up out. I mean, yeah.
Sober Tony made no sense to me, but
not at all. No.
But
I think
high Tony,
the second half of the movie though, he's pretty much a powder head.
Oh, every scene. Do you see the mound on his desk? Like it's just like when I first saw him take that whole thing and he started separating the lines with his hands. It was like, yo, how much are you doing, man?
This dude was gone, man. I mean, that's
was
what
gone.
Called binging. That's a coke binge, man. Like he almost made coke look fun. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. If I wasn't the one exposed to the severe ramifications of what coke can do, and I was, I would say, shit, that looks like a great time.
Yeah.
But check it though. Check this out. So you talked about acting talent. I definitely got to give it up to the sister though, Gina.
Oh, for sure. No, Gina did a phenomenal job.
Gina
phenomenal job.
Was a great talent there. But I'm gonna tell you this though, and I'm gonna close my point on this, right? Because this to me is the pretty much the making of the whole movie, right? I said earlier that Hollywood pretty much gave this movie to Al Pacino. It's out on a Hollywood level, a surface level. This movie belongs to Al Pacino, right? He is Scarface. But I'm gonna tell you the much more interesting story and who this movie rightfully belongs to is Sosa.
Oh yeah.
It's Sosa's movie.
Yeah.
You really have no movie without Sosa. If you really look at it from just a broader perspective, you know what I mean? Just outside of the script and the movie, the Hollywood shit that come with the movie. Just look at the story, man. It's pretty much Sosa that is funding Frank. Frank is the one that was responsible, for Tony even being set up in Miami. You know what I mean? Because Tony, that's what he did the hit for. Tony wanted Frank wanted to get the dude, the Cuban diplomat who Castro cast out. Tony wanted, Frank wanted to get him knocked off because of whatever he did to his brother, right? But essentially, Frank was working for the most part, for a very dominant part, he was working for Sosa. Sosa, it was Sosa's work. Sosa's pretty much was the plug. Sosa was the one that was able to pick out the informant in Frank's organization. Sosa was the one that Tony ended up actually hustling for, working for, and being the Miami plug for. I mean, Sosa was the one who killed Tony. He was the only one that was capable of killing Tony. Sosa was the one that warned Tony in the beginning, like, I'm not the dude you want to fuck over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Sosa's movie, bro. In all actuality, this was Sosa's movie.
I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah, this was. I mean, so the villain really was Tony to Sosa. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Tony himself was not, and like I said, Tony is the main character. But there's not much depth to Tony Montana. You see what I'm saying? You don't know much about his background. Outside of the fact that he was Cuban military, I guess he went AWOL, and he was an assassin in prison. So you got tidbits to who he was, but you don't really know who the hell he is. You know what I mean? He's irrational. And most of the time, he's very irrational. The only real talent this dude has is what the dude recognized in him when they first linked up with him to give him the job. The two guys that worked for Frank. And when the informant was shitting on Tony, you know what I mean? It was the other guy who was like, hold on, man, wait a minute. This dude here, you know what I mean? Hey, he got balls. We can use him. And that's really the extent of what you have with Tony Montana. You know what I mean? And if he had stayed in that lane of being a goon, pretty much, you know what I mean, being muscle, you know, being that type of dude, he probably would have did better in the game. He probably would have, you know, but it's when he stepped and doing better, I mean, whatever you can do better with when it comes to, you know, cartel narcotics and shit. But when you talk about where he went wrong as far as the story, is when he wanted to be the boss. You know what I mean? He had some good ideas, but he definitely wasn't suitable to be the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's the problem too. A lot of people try to be the leader when they need to just support.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the best way to sum this movie up, is that's what Tony was. Tony is someone that had a lot of great ideas, but he never had the ability to flesh those ideas through a support system.
Well, he knew the street.
He knew,
He knew the streets. He knew the value of what the coke, you know what I mean, could translate into in the street.
Right.
And he was right about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as executing that shit, you know what I mean?
Execution is big.
I don't think he was, you know, that was Sosa. Sosa was the one that was, you know, living the life, and, you know what I mean, pretty much had the protection and created the environment. Like, to me, this was Sosa's movie. This movie would have been a lot more interesting if we saw it from Sosa's perspective. You know what I mean? A little bit more than we did from Tony Montana's perspective. And that's for free, okay? Because that right there is a multi-million-dollar idea that I really didn't say on this show. I want to tell you that personally, but I said, you know what, fuck it. If Netflix picks up on this, then we got this shit date stamped that it came from us first. Is that if you really forget the remake? This is why I want to go. This is why I want to say it's towards the end.
I like that.
Forget the Tony Montana remake. It's cool, but it's too cliche for right now. You know what I'm saying? The real story is, I think it will work good in a series, in a limited
series.
Sosa, to tell the shit from Sosa's point of view. You see what I'm saying? And incorporate Tony Montana into Sosa's story. You got a much better story.
I agree with that. I like that idea.
This always was Sosa's movie. Sosa was really the gangster in this movie. The smart. You know. So that would be my idea. Netflix, Hulu, and I want something off this shit, man. Y'all gonna have to give me a
hey man.
But,
hey, look, we'll show them.
Yeah. This already been timestamped. You can't run too far. But if you tell this story from Sosa's point of view, you got a much better story. Because Tony Montana was a up and down character. I mean, he was a misfit.
He was shallow.
He was a little shallow. He had a moral streak to him. I will say that. He did have a moral compass to him. But for the most part, he was a sociopath. You know what I mean?
He was,
There was nothing too deep about it other than that.
Right.
And Sosa was a lot more layered. Excuse me. Those few scenes that we saw of Sosa, man, were really better than most scenes that we did with Tony and everybody else. But the scenes with Tony and Sosa, to me, outweighed the scenes with Tony and everybody else. Even the phone calls.
I agree with that.
Even the phone calls, man. I don't know. To me, it was Sosa's movie. Tony Montana was just, or Scarface. Like I said, I don't even know why Scarface. It didn't even have to be. You know, they don't call him Scarface at all in this damn movie. They don't. That is not his identity at all. So
not at all.
I don't know. Maybe, like you said, I do know there was an old school 1940s version of Scarface that Brian De Palma could have been playing off of. I don't know, but like I said, it was unnecessary for the movie to be called Scarface. They didn't even have to acknowledge the scar on his face, because nobody acknowledged the damn scar on his face except for that one scene in the beginning of the movie. So
Yeah.
again, Hollywood steps in and tends to take the story to bullshit levels. But if you really boil this story down to where it really means something, to really what's important, right? The characters, the story, the acting, it really boils down to Sosa. This was Sosa's movie. You don't have a movie without Sosa.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I never thought about it like that, man. That makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of sense. All right, so what would you I mean, I guess I can guess it, but what would your rating 1 through 5 be for this movie?
1 through 5?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Scarface a strong 4.
4.
I'm not gonna give it a 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a strong 4 though.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be in the same space.
Scarface, like I said, Scarface didn't endure the test of time. Scarface just got reinvented. You know, the entrance in it got reinvented thanks to Black hip hop culture. So, you know, it's a classic, but it's a different type of classic. It's not a Godfather classic.
No.
More of a Dolomite type classic. You know what I mean? You know, I put it in that category of classic. So I'll give it a strong 4.
I like that.
What about you? Said you the same?
I give it a 4 as well, man. I think it was a good movie, but like you said, there were things that, you know, everything we discussed. That's why I can't give it a 5. You know, the negative aspects of it. But it's still a really good movie that I think everybody should watch at least once. My dad completely ruined it for me as I was buying it, so I went to go buy this movie on DVD when Blockbuster was closing.
Blockbuster, shit.
But
You just aged the hell out of yourself, just dude.
I know. But I had seen it, and it was a limited edition version of it, and I was like, oh, I've never seen it before. And he went with me this day, and he was like, so what are you getting out of here? We're walking into the store, and he goes, what are you getting out of here? And I said, I know it's Scarface. I've never seen the movie. He said, oh yeah, man, you know the end. And he starts saying I said, yo. I just told you I had never seen this movie. He said, well, it's not my fault. It's been out 30 plus years. I said, yeah, but you know, we grew up in church, bro.
Yeah.
Do you think I was ever going to watch Scarface?
No,
in
church?
Ruined
my first Scarface experience.
I said, God, dog. All right. But I bought it. I watched it. Knew what was going to happen at the end, but still loved it. I got a Scarface poster. You know, it's not up yet because we'll just move into a new place. But I got a Scarface poster. Love the movie. I there are a lot of things again you can learn from it as a filmmaker. I think there's a lot of things that you can definitely learn from this, and I picked up on a lot of those things where like hey, look, if you and I ever get back behind the camera, man. If we ever do that again, I'm looking. I'm gonna look forward to what could take place. You know, because we've studied a lot of movies and shows, and I retired from filmmaking as a cinematographer. But I'm itching to get back and do some editing. I've been wanting to edit for. I mean, I'm editing for this show and you know other projects, but like. For a movie, I would. That's one thing I want to knock off my bucket list. If I can edit on a feature film, I'd be happy with that. So we got to do something again, man. I think it's long overdue. It's been.
We'll talk off the grid, but
yeah, man. It's been.
Way, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been like what? It don't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all. Not at all. You can take some time away, but it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, man. Most definitely.
I enjoyed this one, bro.
Yes, sir. Most definitely, bro. And I'm glad we were able to sit down and discuss it. Before we get out of here, if you want to give your socials, please let people know where they can find you and what you've been up to, what you're up to these days.
Man, like not much has changed. Like I said, life's been lifing, man, but things are balancing out. That pandemic was no joke, you know.
Not at
That
all.
was 2020, so we're 3 years outside of it.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that's just now, you know what I mean, catching my balance from
Yeah.
what that came with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the year before the pandemic is when I lost my dad. So
Right.
you know, I don't think I did a show since my dad passed. I don't think I've been back on here.
I think we did record.
I
I
might
think
did
we
one
recorded once after that.
once after that. Okay, all right.
I
Well,
think so. Yeah.
um, yeah. So you know that came with his level of challenges. But man, the Most High is definitely good. You know, I've taken steps to reconnect with my spirituality. You know what I mean? So I walk more of a Islamic path now. Hence, you know, I've taken on my father's name. With
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
Rahman, I took on my father's name early part of this year. So speaking of social, that's my social now. If anybody want to reconnect with me on Instagram, it's Abdul ABDUL underscore. Excuse me, D underscore Abdul underscore Ali Rahman ALIRAHMAN. And you know me. If anybody wants to look up with me on there, and then you can still also find me under my work name, Chris Ali. So,
Most definitely.
but other than that, man, you know, it's all the same, man. I'm on Instagram, no Facebook, and
Yeah.
you can find me around here, man. Like I'm coming back around. Yeah, getting
Yes,
an
sir.
OTS fold. So this will not be
Yes, sir.
my last
Not at
podcast.
all.
You
Not
know,
at all, man.
yeah. So I'm back in the neighborhood, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see you, man. I think this is one of those uh uh connections that can never be broken, right? So like
Right, right.
anytime we discuss this, I think like people that even listen to No Chase Home Society, like you know, like every time we talk, we have these long vivid discussions about the project that we're talking about, even other projects that weren't on the docket, right? But
Right.
they're great conversations. This is what we used to do at work all the time.
All the time.
I think people just now, all they're able to do is just actually like listen in on the actual conversation. Roland knows.
Right. Yeah, Roland
Derrick,
read about it.
low remembers, like like those two know, but I think that this is long overdue, and I'm glad to get you back on here, man. I think it's been a while, but
It's been a minute, man.
definitely
But like I said, I'm glad to be
definitely.
back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Glad
sir.
to be back. And I said,
um
it won't be
it's great to have you back, man.
such a long period of time next time.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And you can follow me at Derrick underscore OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. But most importantly, follow the brand. Follow the brand at OTS Media Co. All social media platforms, OTS Media on YouTube. Again, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I know you guys have seen me take a break from a lot of the things that I was doing, but I'm slowly getting back into the fold of things as well. So you'll be seeing a little more as time goes on. But again, we're glad you guys are able to watch this or listen to it wherever you've tuned in from, and be on the lookout for the next episode. We'll catch you guys then. Peace.